Hi friends, we are at the Monument Square in Lisbon, Portugal. This also contains Monument of the Discoveries, which is on the northern bank of the Tagus River estuary in the civil parish of Santa Maria de Belém. It is from here that the ships departed to explore and trade with India and the Orient and returned with booty-laden ships. The monument celebrates the Portuguese age of discovery during the 15th and 16th centuries. The monument was conceived in 1939 by Portuguese architect José Coutinho Telmo and sculptor Leopoldo de Almeida. Monument to the discoveries represented a romanticized idealization of the Portuguese explorations as a temporary beacon during the Portuguese World Exhibition opening in June 1940. By June 1943, the original structure was demolished. A new project was enlarged from the original 1940 model as part of the commemorations to celebrate the 5th centennial of the death of Henry the Navigator and was opened on 3rd February 1958. Dom Henrique of Portugal, better known as Prince Henry the Navigator, was a central figure in the early days of the Portuguese Empire and in the 15th century European maritime discoveries and maritime expansion. He is regarded as the main initiator of what would be known as the Age of Discovery. Prince Henry is regarded as the patron of Portuguese exploration. You see here in the Monument Square a 50-meter diameter or 160 feet compass rose executed using different types of limestone, including Leos, a rare type of beach limestone found only around Lisbon, more specifically in Sintra. Designed by the architect Cristino da Silva, it includes a mappa mundi, that is a map, that is 14 meters wide, showing the routes of Portuguese ships during the Age of Discovery. The South African government was responsible for gifting the construction of this square in front of the Monument of Discoveries. Vasco da Gama, a Portuguese navigator whose 3 voyages to India, beginning in circa 1497-99, circa 1502-1503, and the third and the final voyage, circa 1524, opened up the sea route from Western Europe to the east by way of the Cape of Good Hope. Well, Vasco da Gama may be remembered as a hero in the country of his origin, but here in India, he is responsible for the Portuguese rule in Goa for a very long time. The Portuguese invaded Goa in circa 1510, defeating the Adil Shahis of the Bijapur Sultanate, and the Portuguese rule lasted for 450 years. 2 inscriptions in metal on either side of the staircase, which read, "To Prince Henry and the Portuguese that discovered the roads of the sea." This is on the left side of the staircase. On the 5th centenary of Prince Henry, this is on the right side of the staircase. On 20th May 1498, Vasco da Gama arrived on the western sea coast of India at Kozhikode, that is Calicut, Kerala. Thus, Vasco da Gama is credited with the discovery of the sea route to India. Barring Vasco da Gama, the other important Portuguese explorers were King Afonso V, Bartolomeu Dias, Diego Cao, João de Barros, and Pedro Nunes, to name only a few. Alfonso V was King of Portugal from circa 1438 until his death in circa 1481. His sobriquet, the African, refers to his military conquests in northern Africa. Bartholomew Dias became the first European navigator to round the southern tip of Africa. His voyage changed the map of the known world at that time. Diego Cao made two voyages along the west coast of Africa in the 1480s, exploring the Congo River and the coasts of the present day Angola and Namibia. Pedro Nunes was a Portuguese mathematician, cosmographer, and professor. Considered one of the greatest mathematicians of his time, Nunes is best known for his contributions to the nautical sciences, which he approached for the first time in a mathematical way. João de Barros, nicknamed the Portuguese Livy, is one of the first great Portuguese historians, most famous for his Décadas da Ásia, a history of the Portuguese in India, Asia, and Southeast Africa. Coming back to Vasco da Gama, he sailed from Lisbon, Portugal on July 8, 1497 with a fleet of 4 vessels. After anchoring in many ports on his way, the expedition anchored at Malindi, now in Kenya, on April 14th, where a Gujarati pilot who knew the route to Calicut on the southwest coast of India was taken aboard. After a 23-day run across the Indian Ocean, Calicut was reached on May 20th. On his return journey, Vasco da Gama visited Anjidiu Island near Goa before sailing for Malindi, which he reached on January 8, 1499, after nearly 3 months crossing the Arabian Sea. He reached Lisbon on September 9th. Out of his original crew of 170, only 55 men had survived on his return. King Manuel I granted Vasco da Gama the title of Dome, an annual pension of 1,000 cruzados and estates. King John III nominated Vasco da Gama in 1524 as Portuguese viceroy in India. On his third voyage, Vasco da Gama arrived in Goa in September 1524. He soon fell ill and died in Cochin in December 24, 1524. In 1538, his body was taken back to Portugal for burial there. The Portuguese maritime routes discoveries were a great contribution to the global maritime routes.